Good morning, everyone. So, today's video is really important. We are going to be working on two skills today. And the first skill we're going to be learning on is the perimeter. The perimeter definition is distance around the outside of a shape. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. The other thing we're going to be learning about is the area. The area is the measure the space inside a shape. And I just love this definition. Measure the space inside a shape. Measure the space inside a shape. Aren't you guys so lucky we're not at school? Or we would be singing, measure the space inside the shape. Measure the space inside the shape. Join in with me. I know you don't want to. Oh, I know some of you girls, you're putting your head down like, I don't want to do this. But measure the space inside the shape. Measure the space inside the shape. Measure the space inside the shape. Yay! So, what does that mean? So, I'm going to show you two shapes right now. This is a triangle and a rectangle. Now, for today's lesson, we are only going to be concentrating mainly on the rectangle and squares and parallelogram, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's what we're going to be focusing. But to understand area and perimeter, I want to show both shapes. So I'm going to take my green marker right here, the green marker, and I'm going to show you with the perimeter, what does that mean? It means we're going to go on the outside, or I'm basically covering over the black line. That is the perimeter. It's the outside of the shape. If I go on the outside of the shape, that is the perimeter. Now you might be asking me, why is that important? Why do we need to know the perimeter? Well, the reason why you need to know the perimeter could be like, maybe one day you want to put a pool in the backyard. You need to make sure there's enough room for that pool to go in your backyard. Backyards, maybe you have a huge backyard, but sometimes they're small, so you got to know the perimeter outside, how it could be. Maybe you need to build a fence. You need to know the perimeter. Maybe you want to buy a TV, and you need to know you want to put the TV on your wall. Well, how big is that wall? Like, I know in my living room, I have a big wall where I could probably have a 75 or 80-inch TV if I really wanted to. But in my bedroom, I have a much smaller wall. It wouldn't fit an 80-inch TV. So you really have to know the perimeter for that. Now, the area, if you remember, the funny thing is the space inside the shape. The space inside the shape. That's right. I love it. So I want to show you the area. The area is... this blue part that I'm coloring in right now is the space inside the shape. It's the space inside of the shape. And I'm really excited about that. That's important. We normally would be doing that and using that by making our own dream bedrooms, but that we probably won't have time because of distance learning. But I want you to understand, area you're going to use a lot in your life. What size bed can you buy for your bedroom? I know growing up, I really wanted a queen size bed. And my mom's like, you can't fit a queen size bed in your room, Todd. It will not have enough room for your dressers. So I had to sleep on a twin. It's what it is. That's how big the room was. There's nothing you could do. And as soon as I was old enough and I got my own place, I measured the room and I found out I could have a queen size bed. And I've had a queen size bed ever since. I was like, yeah, because I have the area to do it. The area, the space inside. So it really is cool. So remember, perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape, while the area measures the space inside of the shape. So very cool. Now, you're probably asking me, okay, I get it, Mr. Showman. I've done this before. I don't remember how to solve it. To find the perimeter, you're going to add the outside. To find the perimeter, you add the outside. And I have some examples here. And I have two examples for you, and I'm sorry about that. I just messed it up, but it's okay. So this first example, I have a rectangle. And as you can see in this rectangle, I have 5 inches, 6 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches. So I added them together. And what I just did to the side is I go 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. And you could put that into your calculator and you would get 22 inches. Pretty easy to find the perimeter, the outside. Now the next one, what I did is I left it off a little bit, and I think when I was moving it, I erased part of it, which, you know me, things like that happen all the time. So I'm going to rewrite this 6. But what I want you to see is, what I did is I did a parallelogram, and I only gave you 2 sides, 6 centimeters and 8. Now, what do you need to do? Well, we all know that it's the same. So this 8 is also an 8, and this 6 is also a 6. Make sure you remember that. We've learned that before. The opposite side is the same. 8 inches, 8 centimeters, whatever. Now I showed you a different way. What if you don't have a calculator? And you had 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 6. What I like to do is the trick of breaking it up. 8 plus 6 is 14. 8 plus 6 is 14, and then I can add those together. 14 plus 14 is 28. If you have a calculator and you just want to go 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 6 in your calculator, great. If you don't, this other way of adding is kind of like a really good trick. So now that you've seen that, let's do some practice on finding the perimeter. So I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to draw this. And I'm going to say this is 8 feet. And I'm going to say this is 9 feet. And I'm going to leave it blank. And the question is going to be, what is the perimeter? Well, you have to remember the definition of a rectangle or a square. They are the same. So if this is 8 feet, this is also, yes, 8 feet. Good job. I'm glad you got that way. Now, I heard that from the back of the classroom. So those of you sitting in the front of the classroom, speak up. Don't be afraid. Shout it out. That's right. And what comes across? If it's 9 feet here, it's 9 feet here. Good. So what do? Now we add. So I'm going to have 9 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8. I don't have a calculator with me, so I'm going to show you 9 plus 8 is 17. 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 17, I'm going to do it up here so you can see it. 7 plus 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 1. Plus 2 is 3. So the answer would be 34 feet. That is the key thing. Make sure you are labeling it. If you were to just write 34, it will not be correct. It needs to be 34 feet. You have to label. Okay. There's more though. What if I have something that looks like this? This is 18, 15, 13, and 12. I'm making up these numbers. So I know they don't look exactly right. Just go with it because I want you to understand. So I have to add these together. So I'm going to add. I always like to start at the top and go to the right, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go 12 plus 18 plus 15 plus 13. You can put this all in your calculator if you want, but I'm going to do 12 plus 18 is 30. Plus 15 plus 13 is 28. And 30 plus 28 is 58. Don't forget to label. 58 inches. Circle my answer. Perimeter. Just add the outside. The perimeter, again, is the distance around the outside of the shape. That's why we are adding it. Now we're going to go back and learn how do I find the area. And to find the area of a quadrilateral, I'm going to be honest, you all know me, I'm a little bit different than most people. Most people use the formula length times width. I don't really like that formula. I like to use base times height. BH, base times height. And why do I like to do base times height? I like to do base times height because it's the same thing we're going to use for triangles. So it just flows and smooth and makes a lot more sense if we use the same formula. So that's what I like to do. So the formula I have is area equals BH. And remember, one thing at a time, I always like to break it up. Well, area equals base times height. Now, this is why I like base times height. Anytime you have a trick, anytime you have a 90-degree angle, you're going to circle that 90-degree angle. And the reason you're going to circle that 90-degree angle is because that's going to tell you the numbers to use. That is going to tell you the numbers to use. So, let's take this board that we have, and I'm going to erase it. And we're going to practice finding the area of a square, rectangle, anything. So let's just do a square first. I know that's not a perfect square, but I'm going to tell you that's 8 centimeters. And let's not even use 8 centimeters. That doesn't make sense. Let's just use 2 centimeters. Okay, so since this is a square, this is 2, this is 2, and this is 2. So, and by the definition, they always have a right angle. So what I've done, and here is a really cool trick I've come up with, is you want to circle the 90-degree box. See how I circled that 90-degree box? And you see how this blue line goes through this line, which is 2, and it goes through this line, which is 2? That's going to be how you figure out your formula. So if I have the formula A equals base times height, I'm going to do A equals base times height, and I'm going to go to what I circled. What two numbers did it go through? It went through 2 and 2. So area equals 2 times 2, which is 4. Now here's the new part. For area, it has to be labeled centimeters squared. Centimeters squared. Now, some of you might be saying, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to write the superscript and up there. And how do I get it up there? So here's the deal. When writing on a Google form for your test, you can't do that. For typing on it, so here's how it's going to work. Are you guys ready? You would just write it as 2 centimeters 2. Always have that 2 at the end. That lets me know that you know to square it. So we're always going to be squaring it that way. So that was just one example. Let's look at another rectangle, and this is where it gets a little bit harder, and this is why I like my trick of circling it. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say 14 meters, 6 meters with a box here. Now, if we were to label, this is 14 and this is 6, you might then write the formula, area equals base times height, area equals base times height, and you're like, what numbers do I do? That's why I do my trick. Circle that 90-degree box. Circle the corner. What two numbers did that circle go through? That goes through the 6 line. That goes through the 14. That's how I know that down here I'm going to put area equals 6 times 14. Now here's the great thing. It doesn't matter if I write the 14 times 6 or 6 times 14. It's always going to be the same. So you guys have a calculator. I don't have a calculator. So off to the side, I'm going to do 14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 is 8. Is 84 meters squared. Don't forget to label it 84 meters squared. So I hope you've had some good examples to understand how to find the area. The area is measures the space inside of the shape. Measure the space inside of the shape. The perimeter, the distance around the outside of the shape. Perimeter add, area you're going to multiply. So you're going to have about 8 to 10 problems right now. Well, I'm going to give you a square or a rectangle or a parallelogram. and I'm going to ask you to find the perimeter and the area of both of them. So you're going to have to add the outside, then you're going to have to find the area by using base times height. And remember, circle the corner, the box, and you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to know which numbers to use. So if you need any help, send me an email, come on Zoom. Hope this video made sense. See you later. Bye.